Now, I am obviously quite biased, but I have to say the Lector is an Ultra Chad pick for the Empire. He's not Volkmar, but he is very cheap, potent support lord. Today, Boojilicious is going to be taking him against Nurgle, and we've already got some Pistoliers skirmishing. 2 Pistoliers, 1 Outrider there, some Spearmen in the front line. Got some Huntsmen and some Crossbowmen as well. Kind of all mixed in here. Knights of the Blazing Sun and Empire Knights with Lore of Fire, of course. Flaming Sword of Ruin, Fireball, and Piercing Bolts of Burning on that Fire Wizard there for Nurgle. Some Nurglings eating some pistol bullets already. We've got some more Nurglings here in the center. A couple of Forsaken, including the Demon Spew. Love the Nurgle Forsaken. I think they're absolutely fantastic. The speed reduction isn't so big of an issue from the Mark of Nurgle for Forsaken. They're already pretty fast. And the extra melee defense and hit points kind of shores up one of their main weaknesses. Of course, the ROR also has this nice -5 melee attack aura, essentially like a +5 melee defense aura, if you think about it. Also got a couple of great warriors, great weapon warriors. Yes, I can talk, I promise. And a Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle on foot, a couple of Knights of Nurgle as well. So a nice mix of armor and a couple of demon units, of course. It should be very interesting. The general lack of armor piercing in this Empire build does concern me against the Knights and whatnot. It's very interesting, definitely, to see. But Lector, see his ability set, what he's got here. The Mace of Hellstorm will give him quite a bit more weapon damage and flaming damage. It's non-AP, but that's what his spread is. That's just fine anyway. The flaming damage in particular can give him a nice damage spike with Kindle Flame 2. Hammer of Sigmar, Shield of Faith, and Soulfire. All just fantastic support abilities. And Soulfire, of course, Grand Soulfire does some pretty good damage as well. But these Hounds are going to rush in, try and bog down those Empire Knights and just kind of mass attack them. Meanwhile, on the front lines, Forsaken are going to get into combat here. We've got Flaming Sword of Ruin perhaps being cast, but unfortunately it doesn't look like the area of effect actually hits either of these spearmen, which is pretty unfortunate. Hammer of Sigmar does manage to hit the one. They go up to 40 melee attack, but still definitely getting ground down by those Forsaken pretty quickly. Meanwhile, out on the flanks, Knights are charging through. We've got some warriors coming in. It's like a Piercing Bolts of Burning being cast to hit just whatever here. Unfortunately, the wind-up time is quite long, and it ends up mostly missing, which is certainly unfortunate. But meanwhile, yeah, both sides, the Knights are just kind of falling back, screening through Empire infantry. Yeah, same thing over on this far side here. Knights of the Blazing Sun trying to get supporting spears here. Looks like they got a nice charge on those Nurglings. The one downside of Nurgle Knights is that slow speed down to 65 does make them relatively unimpactful. You'll see there that the shock damage on these crossbowmen might not be as much as you were expecting for a unit of this price. They start to take some return fire from those huntsmen and other units. But Empire definitely wilting pretty quickly in melee. The Lector is going to have something to say to that Nurgle Lord here for a moment. We've also got this big kind of pitched mounted combat here. Fecundity being popped will heal a lot of these Nurgle units, refresh their vigor. Not enough to save those Nurglings, though, as they popped out a little earlier. But 2v1, these two Empire characters should do just fine fighting this Nurgle Sorcerer. I mean, obviously, the Lector is a pretty good combatant. He's not crazy strong. Only 30 melee attack is not great. When Hammer of Sigmar is active, he can definitely get a lot bigger of a damage spike, but going 2v1 here, not great. Looks like we're going to see, it looks like an attempt at an Overcast Fleshy Abundance, but he actually gets knocked down by the Lector continuously and is going to struggle to get it off. Unfortunately, though, it's not actually taking all that much damage, given the lack of AP and everything else from the Lector. But Knights holding out on the far side here, and the Pistoliers also being used to kind of throw in some supporting fire here. They're not going to do a ton to the heavy armor of the Chaos Knights, but they will definitely contribute. A little bit of Flaming Sword, perhaps redundant on Knights of the Blazing Sun somewhat, but at the same time, just giving him the extra weapon damage, and of course, proccing Kindle Flame in and of itself is good enough. Yeah, Cavalry, we'll just keep kind of a wide view as the Cavalry is running all over the place right now, just trying to intercept and drag down those Nurgle Knights. The Sorcerer Lord ends up not taking that much damage. Looks like the Empire characters are still fighting there. Marauder Horsemen came in to try and contribute, but right now the Huntsmen are having a hard time with their leadership, but it's staying safe. These Poison Warhounds definitely wanted to cut in and try and take out those ranged units. Knights here, they've got one at least gets Fleshy Abundance. Looks like there was an attempt at an overcast to hit both of them, but the template unfortunately didn't actually hit both. Only hit the one, which is still gonna definitely help them, obviously. They have lost quite a bit of unit models already, but just trying to catch those Knights of the Blazing Sun, and the Pugilicious here doing a great job of just continuing to kind of fall back, get to his supporting units. So let's get up close, watch these Knights of the Blazing Sun, which seem absolutely tiny in comparison to these hulking Knights of Nurgle. But with their flaming lances and their glittering golden black armor, they certainly will be a pretty potent match for, these Knights of Nurgle there. They're going to now collapse once more, and it looks like they actually come in and do some significant damage to the Lector. He pops some of his buffs to try and save himself there. We also get another Fecundity, which is going to come in and heal a little bit, but just continuous kind of chip damage here is wearing those Knights down over time. And the fact that they're now trying to pull away from the Knights of the Blazing Sun means that the Nurgle lads will be having a hard time there, but certainly things are very concerning for the Empire. These warriors basically untouched over here. These warriors also fairly healthy. They are fighting the Sons of Sigmar, which is not going to go great, but Huntsmen are also relatively healthy for the Empire. They've been in this weird column formation for a lot of the battle, which is kind of hampering their ability to turn and fire, but they'll continue to contribute. There's still quite a few unit models online, 48 and 59 there. Pistoliers also being used to chase these Poison Warhounds once they've been routed, so it's kind of death by 1,000 cuts, and the ability to go wide with a lot of kind of mid to high tier units, like in this case, you know, the cavalry, taking this much relatively elite cavalry. I mean, what, double units, Knights of the Blazing Sun, all supported here by the Lector. Kind of, he enables you to do something like that while still having a relatively decently balanced build. You know, taking Huntsmen, crossbows, rather than just cheaping out for something like archers, right? But anyway, Knights of the Blazing Sun going to come over here, hammer into those Warriors of Nurgle. Of course, the flaming attacks also reducing healing is something that I think a lot of people tend to forget about. It's just super, super important, and something why you should take units with innate flaming damage against Nurgle and other heavy healing factions, even if you don't, even if they don't necessarily have an innate weakness to fire, just in order to slow down their healing effects. Here the Knights charge in. They're going to get a hold of those Huntsmen. Marauder Horsemen charging through as well, getting onto those crossbows. So things are definitely looking dicey, but at this point, the Empire still has a pretty good presence of missile troops. They've sacrificed all of their melee units pretty well here. Knights of the Blazing Sun getting chased off once more, and the Nurgle Sorcerer himself is proving to be a little bit of a problem, as Empire's lack of anti-infantry, kind of anti-character, armor-piercing damage coming back to haunt them, perhaps. But Nurgle Knights charging through. We'll get a little bit of cinematic action. I haven't really shown too much this battle, honestly. It's a shame on me, because Nurgle warriors do look incredible. Continuing to take shots. Crossbowmen falling back. Pistoliers in position. The Outriders, of course, as well, with their armor-piercing missiles, should be hanging around here somewhere. Yeah, actually, one of those is the Outriders. Okay. So the Outriders are going to be super critical at this late stage, considering they have most of their unit models still online. I say most, slightly more than half of their unit models still online. And 7 shots is a decent amount of ammunition, certainly enough to contribute here. The question is, what do you use it on? Trying to shatter the Demon Spew is probably a good option, but definitely these Warriors of Nurgle, being the healthiest unit, perhaps should be the target. The Knights, though, are relatively mobile, and if you can shut them down, you can get these other crossbowmen and Empire ranged infantry back, and they're all fast enough that they can kite these Warriors of Nurgle just fine. That is one downside. I mean, certainly it's great for Nurgle to have access to those heavy armor units, but the fact that they're so slow, I mean, even when everything on the field pretty much is exhausted, although Outriders certainly are not. I mean, I guess, yeah, these crossbowmen are all winded, which means they're going to be significantly faster than the Warriors. Here, though, at the edge of the map, the Warriors can just chase towards the edge of the map and maybe inflict enough leadership damage to just rout these Huntsmen off the side. But that being said, Sons of Sigmar, of course, Unbreakable, are going to continue fighting. The Demon Spew do get caught up. I say caught up by the Bright Wizard. They actually catch the Bright Wizard and are going to do some significant damage to him. This ROR type unit in this late game with good leadership and damage can be quite dangerous, but a clutch volley from those rallied crossbowmen does come in and break them. We've got the Huntsman as well, which technically can fire on the move, even though they only have a front-facing arc like the Outriders. If they turn and kind of advance in a direction, then they can, yeah, like see here, maybe should take them off fire at will so they don't waste any shots there on those Demon Spew. But another long wind up on that piercing bolts of burning. Let's see, the Nurgle warriors though are so slow. Even with the reaction, they still do take quite a bit of damage from that. These crossbows firing in here. Empire crossbowmen, not a unit you see a ton, but definitely a unit that can be very cost effective if used correctly, and generally just great as kind of a cheap support missile with decent armor piercing damage. Definitely, like, it's not crazy, but crossbows generally tend to have decent AP. I mean, I think it's 5 AP, 6 AP per shot, which is quite nice actually. Definitely these warriors are feeling the pain of that. Got another flaming sword of ruin here. And look at this, these spearmen juiced up with Hammer of Sigmar. They've got Grand Shield of Faith. Still, though, their leadership is struggling. Nice little drive-by Soulfire there as well. Rear charge from the Pistoliers. Cycle charging with Pistoliers even. Some Warriors of Nurgle. You know that Empire is in a desperate situation when that is happening. Pistoliers are very quickly going to rout, but all of this kind of disruption does mean that these missile units are going to get that much more time to fire in. Sigmar's Sons also chasing. I mean, their stats are certainly good enough that they can get some work done here, even despite the lack of armor piercing. They just have better attack and defense stats. And the lack of armor piercing isn't so much of an issue in this type of a late game because exhaustion plays significantly into armor, and this goes back to creative assembly and really needing to show vigor on the unit cards. But nice fireball here. In this type of a situation, you might want to line up the Bright Wizard and try and like side shot the fireball through these Chaos Warriors. You could kill many models of them, maybe just wipe the unit. But anyway, yeah, vigor. Because their vigor is so significantly debuffed, it's a percentage-based armor debuff. I want to say it's like 30% or something, pretty significant. What that means is that the Sigmar Sons, because they have less armor to lose, right, they're going to be impacted less by that, and the lack of AP won't be so much of an issue as they try and grind through in this late game. It's also something to consider for the crossbows too, right? I was just talking about their decent AP values, and their non-AP damage will also be increased due to that low vigor, the exhaustion of these warriors. I mean, it is quite tiring, I'm sure, slugging around all that extra weight from the mutations and the heavy armor and the big axe and horns and stuff. Anyway, as the Nurgle warriors slowly get ground down by 1,000 cuts, suddenly it's just the warrior sorcerer lord left, and he's not too happy about this. I mean, he's obviously quite slow as well, not quite as slow as those warriors, but thankfully the Sigmar Sons aren't going to go down to army losses. The Empire's balance of power got very low there at a certain point, but now at least seems that the Empire may be able to prevail. Let's see. I mean, let's check out this guy's stats. 43, 49 is pretty good. Chaos Sorcerers tend to have decent combat stats. 80 armor, definitely not too bad at all. 360 weapon strength. But 43, 49 with poison does mean that the Sigmar Sons aren't going to do a ton of damage. They're not going to have the greatest hit chance in the world, but here we see the Bright Wizard charging in with the Sigmar Sons. The Outriders kind of stop up the Chaos Sorcerer Lord for just a moment there. They don't have any ammunition to try and contribute, but as the Sorcerer Lord is running, maybe he'll take some hits. Let's actually keep his health bar up so we can see him. Like there, he took a little shag from the Sigmar Sons. There, he takes a little shag from the Sigmar Sons. Outriders charging in once more, and there goes his leadership, which should mean the Nurgle forces just rout here. Perhaps not. He does pop his Filth Mace, which is going to cause terror. Gives him the corroded armor debuff, which is, yeah, actually quite nice. And also causes terror. Let's see if any of these Empire units terror out. Of course, the Sigmar Sons will not, as they are unbreakable. They're going to be pretty clutch in defending here. little bit of a charge from the Bright Wizard. He then immediately tries to pull away. But Sigmar's Sons just kicking this guy, you know, hitting him in the head with their shield. Doing some little slash and stab, jump attack. He is down now below 800 HP and continuing to take damage. So there you go. I'm not going to lie, when I saw this build from the outset, I did not think Boojilicious was going to be able to pull this off with his lack of armor piercing. But at the end of the day, I mean, he takes advantage of a few of Nurgle's key weaknesses, mainly being the slow speed. He's able to use these missile units to great effect. I mean, crossbowman at 500 damage value is just fantastic. The Pistoliers struggled a little bit, but very clutch in the end game there. Certainly the Outriders got quite a bit of value. Sigmar's Sons also, with the prayer buffs, can get quite juiced up. And in general, that the decent combat stats and the fact that they're unbreakable means they will trade well against a lot of what Nurgle can bring to the table. The Empire Knights sacrifice boldly. The Knights of the Blazing Sun also some crazy good value there. Kind of running hit-and-run attacks on the Knights with lances here, one of which still manages to pay for themselves very impressively enough. Yeah, Lector himself doesn't do a lot of damage, but the support value is incredible. I mean, a lot of the reason that these Empire units are able to do the damage that they do, especially in melee, Hunt's been contributing nicely there as well. Anyway, just, yeah, the support prayer buffs do a lot for you. And, I mean, look at this. We got, what, 2 relatively elite cavalry units, but then quite a bit of kind of spend on missiles here. It's just interesting. I don't know. I really like this combined arms empire. I can't say enough about that. On Nurgle's side, I mean, the Nurglings are an interesting choice. They get hit super hard by the Knights of Blazing Sun, end up getting crumbled out super fast, which is actually probably pretty important just to get rid of that chaff initially. The Forsaken of Nurgle do very well, and I might go a little bit heavier into that in this, mainly because they have the speed that, like, these warriors lack, and although the warriors did get a lot of kills, they didn't end up paying for themselves, and that slow speed really comes back to hurt you. I mean, regular Chaos Warriors with Great Weapons are fantastic, especially, you know, as a support unit against infantry, against cavalry, as a frontline unit. They're kind of your great Swiss Army knife, but the speed debuff is enough of a factor for the Nurgle bros that it's just a little bit trickier to use them. I'm more of a fan of the Forsaken, even against cavalry, supporting in those engagements. The Nurgle Horsemen also maybe could have been used a little bit better. The Hounds, likewise, just keeping it like one in reserve, specifically only for chasing routing units, would have been pretty beneficial. But at the same time, given that the Nurgle army was just a little bit smaller, probably felt pressured to pressure the back line kind of ranged units. Empire was able to take advantage of that, but some great initial kind of attacks there, holding off the Nurgle Knights. Very impressive stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.